Hey, it's W5HRO. I know it's been a while. People have probably been wondering, well, why hasn't he uploaded another video? Well, I made a major revision change. First of all, let me back up. One of the first things I did was, as I see all these tubes here, I got out my little trusty tube tester I bought that I need to go through and change the electrolytics on the bottom. I just been turning it on and off to use it to test tubes when I need to, then I turn it right back off till I get a chance to restore it. But I thought, while I'm waiting for some parts to come in, I should probably check. I never did tube test any of these tubes that I was going to use. I did the 6SAS7G, but I never did the other ones. And I tested the 6SJ7, it's fine. When I got to the 6SK7, it only came up to the middle where the question mark is on the, on the meter, on the indicator. And I went, well, maybe that's just a tube tester. So then I dug around in one of my old spare tube boxes, and I found an old metal 6SK7 that was a pullout from an old 1940s holocrafter receiver. So I put it in there in the tube tester, and it came up all the way to good. Okay, so all my tubes read good except for the 6SK7, so I thought, I need to find a decent 6SK7. So I found a lot of 3 of them on eBay. The guy sold them as new, but it turns out all 3 of those come up on the question mark. And I thought, you know what, since I was dealing with the hum on this thing, it might be a good idea to put the metal tubes in this thing. So I ordered some metal tubes. And there they are, the 6SJ7 and the 6SK7. And those run hotter than the glassed ones on the tube tester, so that's good. So the problem was it took over a week for those tubes to get here. So I've been kind of sitting around waiting for parts, and I was outside doing some other stuff, and we bought a couple new cars and stuff, and I sold our old cars, and so the wife and I are running around in brand new vehicles, so we've been focusing on that here lately. But I don't want to digress. But anyway, what I did was, as far as when I was going through checking those tubes, I'd already kind of made the decision that I was going to make a major revision change. And since I decided to triode connect this 6SK7 tube, I decided that it's probably better that if I use that unused Hammond 124B nickel core transformer that I had and go back to a 6N7 to get my voltage swing out of this. Because the 6J5 on its own on this transformer that I'm using, this 124E, it's really not designed for a single-ended input on the primary. You can, but you have to run the current up so high because the resistance of the winding is double. Because it's, and you have to run the current hotter on the tube, and, and this thing doesn't have the gapping to withstand that. So right now I've got this thing, I have a 500 ohm, I have a couple resistors that equaled 500 ohms, and I put them in parallel. I'm probably going to put a 5-watt resistor there before it's over. But anyway, I don't have the AVC circuit. I just added this on the drawing. I think to be able to make this thing work, I'm going to have to remove this cap anyway. So I don't know, but I've got a cap across it, and I clipped it loose here a little bit ago because I've been going through debugging this thing. I'm getting about 350 volts peak to peak now on this thing, but I've got an AC ripple that's getting like it's getting doubled. It's like the first harmonic of 60 hertz. I've got 120 hertz. It's getting into this thing, and it's like 80 volts peak to peak here on the output. It's not coming from here. It's not coming from here. I've clipped on the plate of this guy. But if I look on the grids of this thing, I'm starting to see it over here. And I'm like, okay. So one of the things I did is I told you I removed, I don't know if I told you yet or not, I removed that AC wiring from over here where the 6SJ7 was, and I moved it over here, and I ran some longer, but I twisted the lead over to this 6N7 socket, which used to be the 6J5. And like I said, I'm using the 6N7 now because I want the voltage swing, and it solved the problem. But I'm still, this 3.6K cathode resistor is going to have to be a little larger. This tube's running about 9 milliamps, and it needs to be no more than about 5. The cathode current should be no more than about 5 to 6 milliamps static, so I need to increase this value, and I'm probably going to play with, I don't know if I'm going to have to change it. I may play with it a little bit. I don't know. It seems, I've got this one run, this cathode running right at 10 mils on this side, because this is, like I said, this is the double. This is like push-pull, and it's, that winding's double the resistance than it would be for single-ended, so it should be okay. But I just got, for some reason, I'm getting 120 hertz hum that's not on this side of this transformer, but it's on this side. And it's either getting in through this AC wiring. I had these leads on this transformer, and the black lead, which is the center tap, all cable tied together, and I undid that, and I moved them apart and moved it around with my fingers and touched stuff, and it wasn't changing anything on the scope. But let's go ahead and let me show you what I've got here. As far as output power, I just got to work on that AC hum next. So, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this resistor value and get it in the right, well, yeah, because because what I did was I pulled this tube out first, the problem was still there. If I put it back in, I pulled this tube out, the problem was still there. I pulled this tube out, the problem went away, and that's how I knew it was on the starting right here on this secondary side of this transformer. So there we are there, and you can see right now that's the 120 hertz is what that is. But it's spread out because I'm going to show you. I'm going to turn on the audio generator. And but I also have to adjust the pot here. See what I've done? I've got a short leaded pot here just so I could, this thing compresses so darn fast. I barely turned that audio gain pot up, but I've got excessive drive going into it too. So let me, that's pretty good. There's 145 volts there. If I max it out, it goes to about about 352 volts peak to peak. But see, I can adjust this pot and it compresses. See, that 6SJ7 going to that 6N7, that 6N7, once it compresses, it's no longer linear and the output level stays the same. And you can control the actual level via the AVC circuit. That's why this is just, man, this is great. I mean, I'm only turning this thing up about a quarter of the way. Look at that. That's great. That works fantastic. I'm going to turn the pot up all the way. I mean, where it's getting max, to where the 6SK7 is getting max voltage swing, and then I'm going to max it out over here. There. That's 347 volts peak to peak. That's 350. Then I can turn the pot down, see, to lower it down. But see, you have to go way down to get it. Once it compresses there, it's just barely turned up. So when I turn the D104, I'm talking to D104, and that thing, it gets my voice peaks. I mean, once I get my lowest level voice tones, it doesn't matter if I'm just speaking loud or if I'm speaking soft. It's just going to max it out. The problem is, this is going to put out way too much power out of my, my transmitter is going to put out like 3,000 watts peak to peak, at least. So I have to regulate this back. That's pretty good, man. But it's a lot. See, it's not completely square wave, and that's just, I can clean that up. I can get those blips off of there. I can get that little bit of distortion off the top and the bottom, but that's not really that critical anyway. No matter what I do now, and see, I'm getting more than the 300 volts peak to peak that I used to. The problem is I've got an AC, the AC 120 hertz. And let me just do this here. Let me show you. It might be hotter coming out of, Yeah, it's 92 volts peak to peak, and it's 120 hertz, see? That's what it is. It's the 60 hertz, it's the first harmonic of the 60 hertz. And that's so weird. It's 120 hertz is what it is. So, I think what I'm going to do is, my power transformer, I think I'm going to try lifting the center tap of that high voltage winding and just putting a resistor in series with it to bring that supply above ground, above where that cathode voltage is on this tube, and see what happens. So right now I just got to play around. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to change this resistor first and get the current on this tube in the right place, and then I'm going to work on getting this hum out of here. Like I said, I can put a DC voltage on the center tap of the 6 volt winding, and or I can raise the center tap of the 350 volt transformer. I can raise that center tap of that transformer above ground with the resistor. I may try that first and see if I can just bring it up enough to where it solves the problem and it eliminates that, because that sometimes will get rid of that noise. And I don't know where else it could be coming from. It's got to be the 60 hertz. It's got to be that first harmonic. So anyway. But you can see that. So it's there, and it's going to come out on the air bed. It's going to make my watt meter come up on the PEP scale, because it's going to have that hum's going to modulate the transmitter. So I got to get that out of there. I might wind up putting a 6SK7, over here where that's, and for a 6N7, I need to dig around in my junk box to see. I think I probably have a metal 6N7. I probably do. I'm not positive. But if I've got one, I might pop it in there and see what the heck it does. And I think I don't have that pin on there for the shell tied to the cathode, so I could tie that to the cathode and plug that tube in there and see if it does anything. It could. That could do it too. But it's either the AC getting on there from that, because I moved the line over here. Because see, I changed this tube to a 6N7. So it's, it's this twin triode with a common cathode. So, it could have just been that. So I don't know. So that's what I got to play with here. I got to figure out how to I'm going to get the bias on this tube correct, and then I'm going to go ahead and try get that hum. I know I can get that out of there. I just got to play around till I get it. So you can see what I've done here. It's taken me a while because I've got an 89 volt, and that's messing up my current, because that's actually, there's some audio that's actually acting as audio, so my current settings on this aren't even right, because it's coming up because it's modulating this cross on this transformer to this load here. Oh, this resistor's starting to get warm. So anyway, let me turn that all off, and I'm going to stop for the night. Like I said, I did work on this thing for several days, but it's been about a week and a half, 2 weeks almost, because I ordered these metal tubes from that guy online, and I think he's in Tennessee, and the parts got stuck in Memphis, and they sat there for almost an entire week, and so it took it took more than a week and a half to get the tubes here. So I've been sitting here twiddling my thumbs waiting for the parts to come in so I could do this, and they just came in. They came in yesterday. So now what I have is I have 2 metal 6SK7s and 2 metal 6SJ7s and 1 glass one that I know that works. And then I have these 3 here that I know that don't work. Did I tell you that I found another one here on South America? This is a glass one. And this guy from South America had one. I put this on the tester and it came up completely good. So, but this came after I'd already ordered these guys. And I think the metal tubes are probably safer here anyway. They'll be, because they're shielded, right? It's probably a better deal. So, but you tie them to the cathode. So, if you got, say, like 30-some volts to ground on this cathode, you wouldn't want to touch this tube to ground because that's metal. Now it's painted, but still, it's going to have the cathode voltage on it. So anyway, but that's what they say to do. You don't tie them to ground, you tie them to the cathode of the tube like you would the suppressor if it's a pinode. So that's all I guess I have. I don't want to. I guess, did I cover everything? I think there was one more thing I was going to mention, but I forgot. But to now see, I just have the one pot, and if you see my circuit, I think I am going to have to remove that cap, because when the AC comes down, that cap's going to stop it. So I'm probably going to have to, yeah, I'm probably going to need to remove that cap. And on the AVC, when I go to add this circuit here, that cathode may need to move around, and if that may actually cause the AVC to hang in there longer. It may need to be a tiny cap, if I even put a cap there at all. So that one may not be able to be there either. I may have to remove this one and this one both, but we'll see. But this, I just need to get the negative where it's high enough that I can adjust it. And that 20K resistor, if all this is the right values and it works properly, I could put a 50K pot there before it's over. You never know. But I just went. There's 500 here on this side. 470 plus 20 plus 20. That's a little more. That's what, 510 or something. So that's close enough. It's going to be adjusted about halfway, so if it's at 10K, that'd be the 500K over here on this side. But that's part, I have a funny feeling this is pretty simple. I have a funny feeling this will work just like I got it. It might work fine, because see, this is not connected to ground. This gets its ground connection through this pot, through this wiper here. But it's not, this is all just floating above ground here. So this is just the bypass caps. This is to slow the AVC down. That's a 1 mic, and this is just to stop all the AC from coming down. It'll just shunt it all to ground at this point. So you'll see the 470K, but that's okay. I just wanted the DC resistance. I wanted to have it the same as it would be a 500K. So I guess that's it. I think I covered everything, didn't I? So I just have to, my first thing is I got to get the bias on the 6SK7 where I need it. And I'll play around with the 6N7 bias later. I may put a rheostat on her and adjust it while I've got the signal going through, but it looks like it's working pretty good. I just need to lower the static current on this one a little bit. And I've also realized I've got this in here now. I pulled this from that other schematic. I'm only getting like 26 volts on this screen. So I need to change these values to where I get it. I need like, about 1 milliamp at 40 some volts would be perfect. 50 volts would be ideal, but 40, I think with this resistor, with the 1 meg just down here, I was getting about, around 40 some volts, I think. No, I think it was 30, it was almost 40. So if I got 40 volts there, 40 to 50 volts there, but right now it's only like 26, so it's too low. So I'm gonna have to play with this a little bit. So anyway, that's I think that's all for now, and I'll upload another video when see, I made it dark in here, didn't I? Because I was shutting this whole thing all down. It's almost dark. It's about dark outside, so I'm getting ready to shut the shop down and go inside, and I'll upload this video. And till the next time, we'll say goodbye, like the Stone song, something like that. 73s.